Before we get started, a quick reminder. Unlocked is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult a qualified healthcare provider for any health concerns. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and give a thumbs up. Share across all platforms. Unlocked.
Steps up to the plate, feeling the weight. The crowd's cheering loud, but it's up to fate. Struck out too many times, doubts creeping in, but he knows in his heart it's time to begin. He remembers the lessons, the words that they say.
Welcome to Unlocked. I'm Coach Eric, and I hate losing. I know, that's amazing, right? I hate losing. The truth is, and this is going to sound terrible, I think I actually hate losing more than I love winning. I mean, I like to win. I really like to win. Winning's awesome. But man, I hate to lose. And I've gotten a lot better over the years. In my younger years, losing it would gnaw at me. It'd eat at me. I always remembered the worst moments better than the best moments. And that is such a destructive behavior. And I look back on it now and I see that in myself. And I've spent a lot of time trying to work on that, trying to coach better than that. But the reality is, deep down inside, at my core, I hate losing. So I'm sitting here on the couch, and I'm not intending to do an episode today. And I'm just thinking about this fact. And I know I've passed this gene down to at least one of my kids. And my wife's the same way. We're not good losers. And we're trying really hard to be supportive in wins and losses. Everybody needs to be supportive in wins and losses. And I thought about my journey to becoming better at that and what I did to make myself better at it and how that could help somebody else who's also trying to figure out how to make losses less devastating. So the origin of this train of thought was I was talking with another coach who brought up one of the most traditional ways of handling losses. And that is the be a parent first, right? So if you're, and this doesn't just apply to parents, it also applies to teammates, be a teammate first. If you're on the ride back from a loss, what you don't want to do is harp on the mistakes. You want to be a good friend, a good teammate, a good parent. And they always say as a parent, what you want to say is, I love watching you play, and leave it at that. Really, really hard to do. I think even the guys who are the biggest proponents of that will admit to sometimes slipping on that one. And as a teammate, and it's even harder because you don't want to sound like you're pandering to your teammate, but when your dude commits an error, misses a key shot, takes a bad penalty, sometimes they need picked up and they don't want to hear it. They're pissed off on the bus. They don't want to hear it. And some people will tell you it takes leadership to confront that guy and tell him, hey, you got to get your head out of your butt. You cost us that game. All right. It makes for great drama in movies. Other people will tell you, and you go over to them and be like, man, you're still the best. We know you're going to get the next one. But that might feel like coddling or mocking. So it becomes hard. How do you handle that loss? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you handle losses? And I'm not going to tell you not to. I am going to tell you not to tell someone they blamed. No, don't throw blame. Let's just put that right there. Okay. I heard a story very recently about a coach who told his players, that when a teammate comes back in the dugout from striking out, he doesn't want to hear, hey, you're going to get him next time, or that was a good cut. He wants to hear, hey, you got to lay off those balls up at your eyes. Hey, we can't be digging balls out of the dirt and giving them free strikes. And to me, that's the opposite of everything I know. That guy knows he struck out. He knows he screwed up. You don't want to be telling him what he did wrong in that moment because he's still got to go out there and perform again. It's not over. You're not helping him be better for the next moment. You're beating him down for the failure that he's already carrying with him. But I digress. Okay. So I'm already off on a tangent. I'm going to try to keep this one under 30 minutes. So how do we get there? How do we get there, Coach Eric? Well, we start with the obvious thing, and that is, what do I say as a coach to my team in that situation? And in my early years, I probably say something like, I can't play for you. I can't want it more than you. And I made it too much about me. And I think a lot of coaches do that because we're seeing it from our own perspective. So what I tell my players now, and what I think is really important for players to tell themselves now, is losing sucks. It sucks. It is hard. It hurts. So in these moments, right after the game, feel that pain. Feel it. Absorb it. Know it. But when you leave the dugout, when you leave the locker room, when you leave the court, when you load up in the bus, leave that pain at the field. Leave it on the court. Leave it on the ice. Leave it on the mat. Leave it there. Don't take it with you. That burden doesn't fit in our luggage. Embrace it, understand it, hate it, but leave it behind. Because when we get on that bus, when we get down the road, when we get to the next stop, when we get to the next practice, we're going to be focused on the next game, the next play, the next moment, just like we always tell you to do on the field. You can't make up for the mistake. All you can do is make the next play better. You can't make up for the loss. All you can do is try to win the next one, right? So that's my approach when I'm addressing it. It doesn't mean we don't break down some of the mistakes in more detail. It doesn't mean we don't have a little more depth of conversation. But the reality is, in that moment, when you're hurting, running punishments isn't going to help you. Being told how awful you are isn't going to help you because you're already carrying that baggage. You're already carrying that burden. What you need is helpful things. So there's some other ways you can do this that are going to be helpful to you. Punishment runs is what I'm going to address first because I hate punishment runs, but that doesn't mean there isn't a place for running. So there is a difference between taking a team that just lost, berating them, sending them to run, and then berating them again, which would be punitive, especially if you're counting errors, counting missed shots, counting missed foul shots, counting fouls, and having a system in which you say, well, you owe me 15. Okay. They gave you what they had and they lost. Are you just proving you're mean? Where's the benefit? The only place there's a benefit is if it's part of an encouraging process. So you talk about lessons learned, you talk about what you're going to do better, you talk about how important you are to the team, and as a team, you go for a jog to clear your mind. You see the difference in the mindset there? If you're saying, hey, we're going to leave this at the field, so let's run it out of us, and let's get on the bus and get out of here. It's the same effect of physical labor, but it's a very different psychological approach. Are you punishing them and making them think about what they've done while you rub their nose in it when you make them run? Or are you using running and exercise as a way of expelling the evil spirits of that loss? Because one of those things is very productive and one of those things is punitive. And for me, I want to see you building the player up. So as players, how can you use this to your benefit? Well, if you know it's punitive, you can change your mindset on that. While your coach might be barking at you, you need to reinforce to yourself, I'm going to run this out of me. I'm going to leave this noise here on the field. This is not the player I am, and I'm not taking it home with me. I'm going to put my energy and my effort into this run, and I'm going to burn it off. I'm going to burn it out. So you tell yourself the things that you need to hear to help motivate yourself and leave the nonsense behind. Leave the noise at the field. All right? That's where physical labor can really help. And it doesn't have to just be running. It's really effective in baseball to go to the batting cage and just hit off the tee 100 times. Just focus on the ball. That physical repetition of just smack, smack, smack. If you're a pitcher and you do a J-band routine or any kind of band routine, I like the crossover symmetry ones. If you're playing hockey, man, how many guys have you seen just like ticking the puck back and forth on their stick? Tick, 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 tick. You know, it might be annoying to listen to, but it's a great hand coordination drill, and it helps burn off that angst, right? Basketball, I can't tell you how many players I've seen at AAU tournament sitting at the very edge of their seat, dribbling a ball underneath their knees, back and forth, 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 back and forth. As a spectator, as a third party, it's really easy to get annoyed by that. You're like, God, that noise, ugh. But understand, that is a player doing a skill exercise to burn off energy, to focus, to leave the bad behind, to get to the good, to focus on the good and ignore the bad, to just be sharp and ready to play. So there are things you can do in your sport that are physical, that can help you burn off and leave behind this bad thing. And if you're being forced to do a punitive physical anyway, find a way to tie that in. Got to do push-ups? That's fine. With every exhale, you exhale the bad. With every inhale, you inhale the good. Got to do wall sits? That's good. Again, use that to channel good and exhale bad. Coaches, I'm begging you, please stop doing punitives on the field. Let the other teams get in there, get done. Let your own guys get on the bus and get out. But if you're going to, and you're going to be in that situation, players, take it upon yourselves to use it as constructive and beneficial time. All right. So that's the physical. Let's talk mental. Journaling is the best way to take a loss and turn it into a positive. Yeah. Silver lining, coach. Every loss is a learning experience. Yeah. Every loss is a learning experience. We say it and it sounds stupid and it sounds like you're just trying to put lipstick on a pig, but the truth of the matter is, if you are willing to buckle down, to really commit yourself to being the best player you can be, you're going to take that loss, you're going to strip it of its emotion, and you're going to turn it into data. And when you do that, data is useful. Emotions can be fuel, but they can also be baggage. So when you take them out of the equation, what you're left with is valuable data, right? So you lost. You got a journal. And you can do this the old school way, pen and paper. You can do a voice memo on your phone. You can type it out on your phone. You can go home and type it on a computer. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But the key is you've got to record it. And you're not just going to record the bad. You're going to record the good. And you're not just going to record results. You're going to record feelings, sensations. How did the breeze feel? How did the grass feel? What were the smells? What was going on in the audience? What could you hear? Was there a crazy smell because you were close to the water processing plant? Record all of those things too, because those triggers, as you go back through the data, are going to help make the memories of those moments more real. And then write down the plays that were important for you in that game, the good ones and the bad ones. Write down the flow, the feel, anything that comes to mind, key things teammates said, key things opponents said, key things an official said, things your coach said. And there doesn't have to be any order to it. It doesn't have to be in paragraphs, just bullet points, just boom, 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 boom. Because now you can put that away, exhale, do some box breathing, come back to it, and you can look at it as data inputs. And you can use the sensory information to trigger memories. And you can use the statistical information to kind of crunch the numbers on, okay, it was really cold. My fingers are really numb. I was having trouble getting a touch. I just didn't have the finesse. I didn't really feel it. So now, maybe you're not the best cold weather player. It doesn't matter that you were born in North Dakota. It doesn't matter that you've never been cold a day in your life and you can go shirtless in 25 below. In actuality, you struggled a little bit with it. So now you need to take thermal steps to improve your physique. And that's going to help make you more confident because now you've identified someplace you can improve yourself. And it might be, hey, I need to work on this specific skill. I need to work on this step combo. I need to be better prepared with hydration because I was cramping. Maybe I ate too much. Maybe I ate too little. Maybe I was too in my head about a test that's coming up. I need to find ways to clear my mind before we take the field. There's a lot of different things that you'll find when you go start coming back through those journals. Hey, man, when I pitched really, really good here, I was just coming off of the standardized testing. Man, I would have thought that would have made me worse. But you know what? I felt really good about myself after the standardized testing. And even though I was tired, I actually had made sure to rest before the game. So maybe if I take 10 or 15 minutes and do that kind of meditative rest before other games, not just after standardized testing, I can capture some of that fatigue recovery that I had. And, if I can look for moments to find like success in hardship, maybe that'll help me before starts too. So maybe I should do some puzzles. There you go. Hey, wait, you took a test. It strained your mind. You took a rest. It refreshed your mind. And you went out and you played great. All right. You can recreate that. And you you could do it by playing a Tetris type video game. You could do it by doing a word puzzle, Sudoku, whatever your poison is of choice, and then take a little meditative rest and kind of stimulate that brain activity, get you to the same kind of place you were when you were successful before. And you'll find those pathways in your notes. So journaling, great method. Don't be self-conscious about it. And if you are, start slow, start with voice memos, start with using the note feature in your phone, but write it down. Write it down. And as you learn to write it down, what you're going to find is there's so many things you can write down in your sport about your opponents, building scouting reports about your teammates, building scouting reports about yourself, building scouting reports that can help you in the future. So what else can you do? What else besides physical labor and journaling can you do? Well, there's a lot of other things, but I'm just going to give you one more, and then we're going to call it quits. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's talking. I did not intend to do an episode today, but I decided I had to get this out. I had to get this out of me. So I needed to talk about it. Now, I could talk to a voice memo, which is kind of what I'm doing here as I'm podcasting and talking to all of you. I could talk to a teammate. I could talk to a significant other. I could talk to a family member. You know, do you have that kind of a relationship with your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, your grandfather, your grandmother, best friend, your bartender, your barber? You know, there's all these stereotypes of people that you talk to, the lady in the checkout line. But part of that's because unloading is therapeutic. So if you've got a sports performance, mental strength coach in your organization, there's a great person to go talk to. If you don't, you can always get one. But if you don't have one, find somebody that you can talk to. And even if it's just talking to yourself, actually say the words. Now, this is going to sound a little crazy. Yeah, there's a surprise. Coach Eric is going to say something a little crazy. Well, at least I'm not ranting today. Maybe I'm ranting a little. Okay, maybe a lot. So, talk to yourself out loud. Vocalize. Make the words real. Talk to the mirror. Talk to the wall. Talk to your imaginary friend. If you can't find a warm-blooded human to talk to the dog. Talk to anybody, and yourself is included in that. It is important to actually physically say the words and put them out there in the world. If you're not going to write them down, at the very least, say them, and it will help your brain process them. It will make them more real. And things you need to push out are easier to push out, and things you need to store are easier to store when you make them real. Where does that leave you? Well, it doesn't leave you with losing is fun. I am sorry. I have not figured out the magic trick to take losing from a bad experience that hurts to a good experience that is fun. The best I can do is say losing is an experience that hurts but can lead to winning. Because if you learn and you get better, that is a victory. So yes, it hurts. I cannot change that. But hopefully the game itself was fun, and the net gain, the net results, despite the loss, are enough growth to be a win. I'm Coach Eric. This has been Unlocked Mental Performance, Physical Results. Don't be so hard on yourself.